28, 1896 likely began as an unremarkable day for the police constable assigned to Paddock Wood, a quiet village in Kent, England. As he made his routine patrol, walking his bicycle through the calm streets, the usual tranquility was abruptly and unexpectedly disrupted. Unbeknownst to him, the unfolding incident would not only draw national attention, but would eventually gain international significance as well. Without warning, a motor vehicle raced past the constable at an alarming speed of 8 miles per hour, well above the legal limit of 2 miles per hour. The driver, Walter Arnold of East Peckham, was about to make history in a cloud of exhaust and ensuing legal commotion. Lacking access to a motorised vehicle, the constable pursued Arnold using a standard issued bicycle, eventually overtaking the speeding motorist after a determined 5-mile chase. It was at that point that the world's first speeding ticket was officially issued, marking a significant moment in the early history of motoring law. After the 5-mile pursuit, the constable apprehended Walter Arnold and cited him for exceeding the speed limit, driving at 4 times the legal maximum. Although that figure may seem extreme, the speed limit in early 1896 was just 2 miles per hour. Interestingly, the law at the time did allow for exceptions. Motorists could legally exceed the limit if a person preceded the vehicle on foot, waving a red flag to warn pedestrians of the oncoming danger. Arnold, however, disregarded this requirement, driving at 8 miles per hour without any such precaution, an audacious act by the standards of the day. He was summoned to appear before a local magistrate on January 30th, where the London Daily News reported that he faced 4 formal charges referred to as informations during his hearing at the Tunbridge Wells Court. The first of the 4 charges, now curious in its phrasing, accused Arnold of operating a locomotive without a horse. The second alleged that the vehicle was not attended by the legally required minimum of 3 persons, reflecting the lingering influence of regulations originally designed for horse-drawn and steam-powered transport. The third count was the primary offence, exceeding the speed limit of 2 miles per hour. The final charge concerned the absence of identifying information, specifically Arnold's name and address, on the vehicle itself. In his defence, Arnold's barrister argued that the existing Locomotive Acts had not been drafted with motor vehicles in mind. He further referenced a few prominent individuals who had begun using such machines, though it is unclear whether this was an attempt to impress the magistrate or subtly suggest a disparity in how the law was applied to the elite versus the ordinary citizen. Mr. Cripps, serving as defence counsel, argued that if the court deemed the vehicle a locomotive under existing legislation, then a nominal penalty would be appropriate. Despite his plea, the magistrates found Mr. Arnold guilty on all 4 charges. He was fined 5 shillings for the first offence, operating a carriage without a locomotive horse, effectively a reference to a horseless carriage. For each of the remaining charges, he was fined 1 shilling plus 9 shillings in court costs. In practical terms, the penalty specifically for exceeding the speed limit amounted to just 1 shilling. However, Walter Arnold was far from a typical motorist. He was a member of the family behind William Arnold and Sons, which would later become the Arnold Motor Carriage Company in 1896. This positioned the firm as one of Britain's earliest automobile dealerships and the local representative for Benz vehicles, placing Arnold at the forefront of the country's emerging motor industry. In 1895, Arnold's company secured a license to manufacture Benz automobiles in the United Kingdom. At the time of his 1896 speeding offence, Walter Arnold was driving one of these vehicles, a model known as the 1896 Arnold-Benz motor carriage, which he had imported the previous year. His high-speed journey through Paddock Wood High Street may well have been more than a simple traffic violation. Some suggest it was a deliberate publicity stunt, coinciding with the launch of the Arnold motor carriage, a British-built version of the Benz design, just months later. Later that same year, the Locomotives on Highways Act of 1896 brought significant legislative change. It eliminated the requirement for a pedestrian to precede motor vehicles waving a red flag and raised the speed limit to a then daring 14 miles per hour. To mark the occasion, on the 14th of November 1896, a celebratory race was organised from London to Brighton, known as the Emancipation Run. Appropriately, Walter Arnold participated in the event, driving one of his own Arnold-Benz models. This inaugural journey laid the foundation for what is now the London to Brighton Veteran Car Run, held annually for vehicles built before 1905. It remains the world's longest running motoring event and the largest gathering of veteran automobiles. But what about the United States, the pioneer of the automotive industry? The first recorded instance of a speeding citation in the United States occurred in 1899, several years after the incident in England. In this case, Jacob German, a New York City taxicab driver, was stopped by a police officer patrolling on a bicycle after being clocked at 12 miles per hour along Lexington Avenue in Manhattan, well above the posted limit of 8 miles per hour. Had he been making a turn at that speed, he could have faced even greater consequences, as the speed limit for turning was just 4 miles per hour. Rather than receiving a warning or a citation, German was taken into custody and jailed. However, these early infractions did not involve the issuance of a physical paper ticket. The first known instance of a paper speeding ticket being issued was in the United States and believed to have occurred in 1904 in Dayton, Ohio, when a driver named Harry Myers was cited also for driving at 12 miles per hour. This has been me, Jack, and if you're speeding right now, please leave a comment down below.